In the thick morning mist of the Jurassic, an ancient world slowly awakens beneath the shadow of majestic limestone mountains. Endless forests of ferns breathe in the humid air, creating a lush green tapestry stretching infinitely to the horizon. This is the kingdom of true giants, where a herd of Brachiosaurus begins the day by reaching their long necks into the clouds. They move slowly with absolute majesty, stripping tender leaves from the highest canopy that no other species can reach. The sounds of the forest are drowned out by the thunderous breathing and the rustling chew of these massive biological machines. Beneath these living towers, a playful hatchling scampers, trying to keep pace with the members of the herd. The ground shakes rhythmically under tons of weight, yet the young one weaves skillfully and safely through the giant pillars of legs. Sunlight begins to pierce through the thick canopy, illuminating rough, damp skin, highlighting the intense vitality of this place. The atmosphere is strangely peaceful, with only the rustling wind and low-frequency calls echoing through the mist-covered valleys. Giant dragonflies with wide wingspans glide over a still lake, reflecting the silhouettes of the creatures ruling the land. The ecosystem here operates perfectly, with abundant food sources nourishing bodies far beyond human imagination. The sauropod herd continues its migration along the riverbank, leaving behind colossal footprints impressed deep into the soft mud. Golden rays of sun dance on the water, revealing every scale and the slow but powerful movements of the herbivores. They have no need to rush, for at this size, their very presence is an absolute guarantee of their dominance in the forest. A peaceful day pauses in this golden era, where nature favors them with the best conditions for extreme growth. Their body structure is an evolutionary marvel, supporting immense weight while retaining the flexibility needed for survival. Ancient ferns, witnesses of time, tremble gently as the giant army passes, carrying the breath of a glorious age. Seen from above, the tropical forest looks like a vast green sea, sheltering the largest inhabitants in Earth's history. The gentle eyes of the young dinosaur observe the world with curiosity, unaware of the dangers lurking beyond. Interactions between generations are full of affection, affirming that even giants possess strong family bonds. The sun rises high, burning off the last of the mist, exposing the raw and magnificent beauty of this ancient continent. Small streams trickle through rock crevices, providing fresh water for an ecosystem bursting with powerful life. The air is filled with the scent of damp earth, tree sap, and the proliferation occurring in every corner of the old forest. The Brachiosaurus herd begins to seek denser canopy to avoid the harsh midday sun, and the pace of life gradually slows. Their shadows stretch across the ground, creating cool dark patches for smaller animals to hide and rest. The beauty of silence envelops the space, or rare moment of peace before the harsh laws of nature awaken. Every leaf, every blade of grass holds a story of life, contributing to the panoramic picture of a brilliant ruling era. As the light angle changes, the forest dons a new coat, shimmering and magical under a cloudless deep blue sky. This is the moment life flourishes most, when nature and giant creatures merge into one great symphony. A perfect beginning for this era, but in the distance, dark shadows of the hunt are beginning to emerge. Leaving the protection of the old forest, dry grasslands appear under the harsh sun that scorches everything. Here, the air is thick with heat, and the silence does not bring peace but holds hidden threats. A herd of Stegosaurus moves slowly toward the shallow riverbank, their dorsal plates flushing red to regulate body heat. Precious water is a gathering place for life, but also a deadly trap set by the hunter. Hidden deep in the riverside brush, a pair of cold, sharp eyes are intently watching every move of the prey. Allosaurus, the nightmare of the Jurassic, waits patiently for the moment, with killer instincts honed over millions of years. The herbivores remain unaware, going to drink cool water, letting their guard down in a moment of relaxation. The wind suddenly shifts, carrying the scent of the predator to the leader, causing it to snap its head up in alarm. A low, guttural roar sounds the alarm. The entire Stegosaurus herd immediately bunches together, turning their spiked tails outward. Unable to wait any longer, the Allosaurus bursts from the bushes with terrifying speed, its roar tearing through the tense atmosphere. The ground shakes violently under the powerful sprint, mud splashing with every forceful stomp. Its target is a young Stegosaurus, separated from the protective circle in the panic when the attack began. The chase is breathless across the grassland, the predator constantly closing the gap with long strides and rippling muscles. The prey tries to zigzag to lose the tail, but the Allosaurus is a master of speed and agility in tight spaces. Razor-sharp teeth are bared wide, ready to deliver a fatal bite to the victim's vulnerable neck. Cornered against a sheer cliff, the Stegosaurus has no retreat, forced to turn and face death head-on. It whips its tail, armed with sharp spikes, through the air, creating a terrifying whoosh as a stern warning. The Allosaurus halts for a split second, calculating the attack distance to avoid the herbivore's most lethal defense weapon. The two opponents circle each other in a dance of death, locking eyes, waiting for the other to make a mistake. The predator lunges, but misses the bite, sharp claws scratching the thick skin, but not deep enough to take down the massive prey. Immediately, the spiked tail swings mightily, missing the enemy's jaws by inches, forcing it to retreat defensively. Dust flies, blinding the battlefield, while growls and gasps merge to create the sound of chaos. This is not just a fight for food, but the most primal struggle for survival between the strong and the adaptable. Realizing the prey is too dangerous and difficult, the Allosaurus begins to hesitate, its energy depleting too fast. The adult Stegosaurus herd is thundering into the rescue, their collective footsteps creating immense pressure on the lone hunter. Deciding to retreat, the Allosaurus lets out a roar of regret and turns to vanish into the dry brush in the distance. The young Stegosaurus, having narrowly escaped death, exhales, trembling but standing proud on all four legs. The sun begins to set, bathing the battlefield in red, honoring the power of unity and natural weapons. Silence gradually returns to the grassland, but the air still holds the lingering taste of fear and drama. This world has no place for weakness. Every passing day is an uncompromising battle for the right to live. Leaving the nosy continent, we head toward the sheer cliffs, the majestic boundary between land and water. The sound of waves crashing against the mountain base mixes with the howling wind to create the ocean's endless symphony. On precarious rocky outcrops, pterosaurs are nesting, folding their vast leathery wings to rest. An adult pterosaur steps to the edge, spreading its wings to catch the thermal currents rising from the sea below. With just a gentle push, it launches into the air, gliding gracefully like a glider through the blue sky. From this height, the sea stretches out like a giant mirror, reflecting the dazzling sunlight. The sharp eyes of the aerial hunter scan the water, searching for the slightest movement of fish schools below. It suddenly folds its wings and dives like an arrow, tearing through the air at dizzying speed to attack. The surface shatters, white foam splashing as the long beak clamps tight on an unlucky fish near the surface. But the true world of life and death lies hidden deep beneath those mysterious blue waves. Through the ocean's surface, refracted light creates magical bands of color dancing on ancient coral reefs. A quiet world teeming with life, where ancient schools of fish swim freely around moss-covered submerged rocks. The plesiosaur, a marine reptile with a famous long neck, glides gently using powerful and flexible flippers. They move as if flying underwater, their long necks curving skillfully to navigate through rock crevices to hunt. Their graceful beauty hides sharp predatory instincts as they continuously snatch unsuspecting small fish. Air bubbles from their breath rise to the surface, forming strings of glittering pearls in the crystal-clear water. However, the Jurassic Ocean is strictly stratifying, and the deeper one goes, the weaker the light becomes. In the dark waters below, where sunlight cannot reach, larger creatures are silently lying in wait. The silence of the ocean suddenly becomes suffocating. Schools of small fish scatter as if sensing danger. From the deep darkness, a massive black shadow looms, carrying the crushing pressure of a true ruler. Mosasaurus, the leviathan of prehistory, emerges with jagged teeth and a body as long as a combat submarine. It lunges at the plesiosaur with unimaginable speed for a creature of such colossal size. The sea churns violently around the impact, creating powerful vortices that sweep away everything nearby. The plesiosaur tries to use its agility to dodge, but the predator's giant mouth has locked off all escape routes. A terrifying bite shakes the ocean, ending the chase with the absolute power of the apex of the food chain. The Mosasaurus slowly turns, swallowing its prize, and dives back into the eternal darkness where it is king. Streaks of red blood spread and quickly dissolve into the deep blue, restoring the deceptive peace. On the surface, waves still beat regularly against the rocks, hiding the brutal secrets that just occurred beneath the swell. Under the bright sun, the ocean looks gentle, but it is always a battlefield as cruel as any on land. This world, whether high in the sky or deep in the sea, operates by a single law: the strongest survive. Sunset descends not with its usual peace, as the sky is stained a deep blood red, signaling an ill omen. Dark clouds swirl, torn apart by strange streaks of light, creating a suffocating and breathless tension. The entire forest falls into chaos. Birds fly frantically into the air, screaming as if fleeing from death itself. Small mammals burrow deep into rock crevices, trembling as they feel unusual tremors spreading from deep within the earth. On a windy hilltop, a lone T-Rex stands frozen, looking up at the sky with rare unease. A massive comet appears, brighter than the sun, hurtling toward Earth with apocalyptic speed. The air begins to heat violently, the atmosphere ignites, forming long trails of fire dragging across the black sky. In the amber eyes of the great predator, the image of destruction is reflected clearly, brilliant and cruel. It lets out one final roar, not to threaten an enemy, but as a farewell to its kingdom. The moment of impact occurs, a blinding white light erupts, blurring all boundaries between earth and sky in an instant. A giant wall of fire sweeps across the continent, incinerating jungles and vaporizing rivers in its path. The powerful shockwave topples thousand-year-old trees like fragile matchsticks before a storm. Time seems to freeze in slow motion as debris and ash are blasted into the air, completely blocking out the light. The giants that once ruled the earth now fall, becoming dust under the brutal and indifferent power of the cosmos. Darkness engulfs everything, temperatures drop rapidly, heralding a long and harsh winter like never before. Ash falls like black snowflakes, covering the corpses of a magnificent biological civilization that has just perished. Absolute silence reigns over the desolate land, no more roars, no more footsteps shaking the mountains and rivers. Thick smoke swirls in the cold wind, painting a bleak yet magnificent picture of the end. However, the end of one is the beginning for another. The wheel of evolution continues to turn without rest. Deep underground, tiny creatures stubbornly hold on, waiting for the day the sun shines on the world once more. The era of dragons has closed forever, making way for the rise of mammals in the future. We look back at the past not just to admire, but to understand the fragility and preciousness of life on this planet. Those legends will sleep in the earth, becoming fossils that tell the story of a glorious age of dominance.